Welcome to Red's Barbershop, the place to hang out and talk about hoops. This episode of Red's Barbershop is brought to you by our sponsors, Third Eye Consulting and Coastal Plains Insurance of the Lowcountry. Now, hop in the chair because here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Tony Red Bruin.
Hey, Hoops fans, welcome back to Red's Barbershop. You know, it's a Monday night, so we're chilling at the barbershop. I'm Justin Jarrett with my man Tony Red Bruin. You know his name, you know his game, and you're getting to know the name of Red's Barbershop, the hottest new podcast. We got all the Hoops legends, man, and I know you are very excited about what we have lined up tonight because this was, you know, one of the ones on the top of the list, and he called you, which makes it even more special. Who are we talking to tonight, Red?
Unbelievably so. With things are coming full circle tonight, JJ. Coach Boeheim. I had called in earlier during the season and talked with his administrative assistant, and she said the best time to get a hold of Coach would be after the season. And lo and behold, as soon as that season ended, I got the call to give him a call and line it up. And before I can even finish asking him and telling him what it was about, he had already agreed, and tonight's the big night.
Yeah, man, I'm very excited for this and excited for you. And I don't know how much I'm going to have to say tonight because I'm just going to sit back in the corner and let Coach Boeheim and his old player, tell stories and remember the old times and educate us all. So I know we're going to have a huge audience for this, and I'm super excited. I'm repping the logo, repping the brand.
Definitely.
Trying to get Loco out there because, we're going to have some extra eyeballs and ears tonight, I think. So very excited about this. And tell me just a little bit about your relationship with Coach Boeheim and how he recruited you and what made you want to go play for him.
Right. So, as most people know that, once you become like a McDonald's All-American or get higher up in the charts as the so-called gurus rate the players and stuff like that, you got some hard decisions that you got to make because a lot of colleges come after you, But I got to say that I don't think any school worked harder or made me feel more wanted than Coach Boeheim did. I mean, every tournament I was at, every game I was at, every game I went to see, I would not be surprised if Coach Boeheim was right there. I mean, I would have to say he just outworked everybody. And I'm sure at that time, they didn't have the huge budget that they have now, like some of the other schools that were after me. So a lot of those times, JJ, I think he was making the drive down actually from Syracuse to see me. I might just have like one game and he'd drive all the way down from Syracuse just to see me play. So I think between the fact that he saw some of my worst games and some of my best games and still pursued me just as hard made me realize or at least feel that this coach really liked the style of play that I had and thought that I would fit in well with his program.
Yeah, and obviously it worked out well for you. What did you find? What was it about him as a coach? What makes him so great, and how's he been able to stay in one place for so long?
Well, the thing about Coach is he's not like one of those rah-rah salesman type of coach, like with the slick hair and this and that and starting every sentence with me. I mean, he's just, he keeps it real. He tells you where he feels you'll fit in. He tells you what he thinks the school could do for you beyond basketball. I mean, he really loves Syracuse. He tells you about the networking that's possible and some of the great people that have been through the school and the opportunities that would open up from you beyond basketball, the opportunities that you would have from basketball, and the commitment that they would make to seeing me graduate if I so desired, and that's what I wanted to do. My family really felt comfortable with him right away. My mom had a good feeling about him. It just wasn't, he just seemed like somebody that I knew that I could talk to, that I knew like he would have an open door policy, somebody that I could have a good player coach relationship with, not somebody that just saw me like as a cookie cutter player, somebody that's just in his factory, to produce some wins and moving on, and to this day we have a great relationship.
Well, what did you think about going to play the zone? Was that something new for you, or was that a factor at all?
To tell you the truth, and I plan on asking him that. When I first went there, we didn't play anywhere near the amount of zone that he plays today. We mixed it up with man and then some zone. and did a lot of full court pressing, zone press, and man press. So I don't know if that's something that evolved through the type of plays that he recruited, or something that he saw playing in the Big East. Maybe he didn't think they had more bruisers than shooters. I mean, I really would love to ask him, how did that evolve? But like I said, when I first went there, when I was playing there, we didn't play the amount of zone that he plays today. Although, we did play a lot, but not like a whole game's worth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's we're gonna have to get to the bottom of that then. Where did the love of the zone start to really blossom for him? But well, what have you been up to, man? I know you had a big event this weekend and everything went really well. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it over.
I'm so relieved today. You don't even know. Actually, I went, even though it was only about 70 degrees yesterday. I had my little hoodie on, but I went to Caligny Beach and just laid out on the beach and just like de-escalated. I mean, I had the big basketball madness tournament that we run at the Boys and Girls Club annually, to fundraise for the teen center. I had some great programs that played: H2 Elite, Win Academy with Daniel Goodson, Bluffton Gladiators, my own, not my own program, but the program that I do with Coach Jacob Morrow, the Carolina Ballers. We just had some great teams there. We even had a team that we put in from the Boys and Girls Club because they had to represent. And we had a team from Ridgeland, Destiny, that the legendary Coach Faber brought some kids in from Ridgeland. So we were represented by like Hardyville, Ridgeland, Hilton Head, and Bluffton, and players from Beaufort that play with H2. So we had the whole community, all the outlying places. It was just a beautiful family day. It started at about the first game tipped off at 9 o'clock, and we ended at about 5:45. And it was just great. The weather held up for us. We had activities going outside. We had Bridget Frazier there with the seafood food trucks and the ices and everything. It was just a great family community thing, and I loved it. It was just great.
Well, that's fantastic, man. I'm happy we could be a little bit of a part of it, and I'm sorry we couldn't be a bigger part of it, but we'll try to keep it growing next year for sure, and we're going to do some big things together.
I appreciate
you get to watch any hoops? You get to watch any hoops this weekend?
Just a little bit. I think I might be bad luck for St. Peter's because I finally got a chance to watch the whole game, and they they lost. So I was really pulling for them, with a coach from Queens and everything. But if they did have to lose, I'm glad that North Carolina won. I want to see Hubert Davis do well at North Carolina. So it was kind of a win-win, but I definitely would have liked to see Holloway go, one more game further at least, But they had a great run, a Cinderella run, and that's what March Madness is all about, actually.
Yeah, man, I was hoping they could keep it going for sure. And then, I've always got to root against Kansas because, I'm a Mizzou guy. So that hasn't worked out very well for me so far.
Right.
But UNC Duke should be hype. And I'm sure Coach Boeheim will have some thoughts on that and on Coach K and their relationship as well. So
him and Coach K are pretty tight, and it's going to be interesting to see how he feels. Coach is pretty much on his way to making a decision pretty soon, or coming up one of these years, what he's going to do, and he's probably looking and hoping that Coach K goes out on top. Because I'm sure that's how a coach would like to go out too. So he's probably going to be looking hard and have some inner feelings about this too. Those guys are really close. I think Coach was his assistant on one or a couple of the Olympic teams and stuff. So those guys have a great relationship.
Yeah. So I'm interested to get his thoughts on that because we talked to Jim Calhoun on the Loco Sports Lowdown this week. So if folks dig this podcast, they might check that one out too because Coach Calhoun was awesome and had some great insight. And he's part of that fraternity too. And in fact, he poked a little fun at Boeheim and his demeanor on the golf course. So that was fun.
Yeah, those guys will always go at it. It'd be interesting. They poke fun at each other a lot. I noticed that.
Couple more guys for the the inaugural Reds Barbershop golf outing that we're gonna have someday. And we'll bring all those guys down, and we're gonna auction off spots to play golf with them and make a bunch of money for the Boys and Girls Club. And
that's what it's all about.
Do something really cool. So that's a thought that's been kicking around in my head since we started this thing, man. So we're gonna
we got to do
Coach
it. They all
Boeheim.
come down.
You get all these guys retired, they'll come down and play golf for sure. So.
They come to the island anyway, so we just got to put it together. Make the timing happen. I mean, the cause is so great, we got to make it happen, JJ.
Absolutely, we'll do it. We'll get them, auction off all those spots to play golf with all these legends and raise a bunch of money, and it'll be cool. So we'll get that going. Hopefully, Coach will pop on here in just a minute, and we can get to know him a little bit better. But what are you most looking forward to about reconnecting with Coach and being able to talk to him tonight?
I just wanted to talk to him. It's been a minute since COVID. I was going up every year or sometimes a couple of times a year, with the alumni games and stuff and trying to catch the big game, like the Duke game and Georgetown game. But the pandemic kind of slowed all that down. So I haven't talked to him in a little while, except a couple of times on the phone now. And just really try to see what he's got, how he feels about his new recruiting class coming in and some other things about, how he feels about this new transfer portal and some of the changed rules that they have. And, he's always real opinionated on some of the new things. And I really would. Another thing that I know, we have a lot of young listeners that look too and aspiring players that want to go to college and stuff. So I want to try to get some insight on some of the things that he would say that would give them their best chance of making that a reality. So I'm going to ask some questions on that end too, because, who would know better than him of what coaches are looking for these days and, what might be their best way to get the opportunity they're looking for.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a big part of what I love getting out of these interviews is just being able to pick these coaches' brains about what makes a successful college athlete. And so kids can start to build toward, being that prototype.
Exactly.
This episode of Red's Barbershop is presented by Third Eye Consulting LLC and Coastal Plains Insurance of the Lowcountry. Our friend Peter Haber and Third Eye Consulting have a proven track record of providing homeowners associations, condo boards, landlords, and property owners with solutions that actually work. Peter has a proven track record of positive results and dedication to his clients' needs. Visit him today at thirdeyeconsultingllc.com and tell him you heard about him at Red's Barbershop. And our friend Mark McDonald and Coastal Plains Insurance of the Lowcountry provide an independent insurance agency serving the coastal communities of South Carolina, not only with great coverage at the best rates, but also by giving back to the community. For all your insurance needs in coastal South Carolina, visit Coastal Plains Insurance of the Lowcountry at cpilowcountry.com and tell them their name came up at Red's Barbershop.
All right, Hoops fans, we are so excited now to be joined in the barbershop by the legendary coach, Jim Boeheim, who, of course, was your coach, Red, the guy who recruited you to Syracuse, and everybody knows he's synonymous with Syracuse after all of these years. The place you played, the place you coached, and the place that you still say is the best place on earth, despite that weather up there, Coach. But thanks so much for joining us, and tell us a little bit what this time of year is like for you. It has to be a whirlwind with the Final Four coming up and all that.
Well, we're going to go to the Final Four, but we're finishing recruiting. I'm always recruiting all year long. Next year, some for this year coming up, talking to players, seeing what their thoughts are. Guys can get in the transfer portal or not. We have a big freshman group coming in, 6 people. So we're not in the transfer portal that much. We may be a little bit, but not a lot. And we have 4 or 5 guys coming back who played a lot and 6 new players. We're in a good position right now, and we just have to, keep things going. You're always working on it every day. It can change tomorrow the way things go. It's
right.
The new world with the transfer portal.
Yeah. Coach, there's a lot of things me and you need to go back over and stuff. But since you mentioned the transfer portal, that's one of the things I wanted to start with. I know how hard you recruit, and that was one of the reasons that I ended up going to Syracuse. I mean, I used to joke that everywhere I turned around, you was there. I mean, one of the reasons that I felt so comfortable going there is when I had some bad games, whether I had some great games. I mean, you recruited me just as hard. You were at our practices. I mean, you were even in Queensbridge at our little tournaments and stuff. And I mean, I really felt that you wanted me, after seeing, my good and my bad and how hard you worked. I think I don't remember any coach working as hard as you did. And that was one of the reasons. How do you feel about, is this going to change recruiting, you think, with the porthole or, with prep schools and everything? Is this going to make things different? Or
I don't think so, Tony. I think that recruiting is still recruiting. You got to go after kids in high school, and you want to get high school kids. Then you have them for 3 to 4 years, and you may lose 1 or 2 in the portal, but and if you do, you can always get somebody in the portal. There's always a guy looking to come up a level. So, we lost 3 guys in the pool last year. We got 3 really good guys. So that'll work out. The main thing, though, is, in high school, you're out there. I'm going out in April, as always. Time recruiting. You're there. You better be there every day. Kids look for that, just as you did. Kids want to see, well, if they really like me as the head coach here, is he coming? And so, yeah, I mean, you got to be there, and you got to talk to kids and make them understand what you're trying to do and what your program's all about. But every year's new. You're starting brand new with a kid. He's never talked to you before, and you've got to talk to him and make sure he understands you want him. Talk to his parents, his coaches, get him up for a visit. All those things go into the recruiting world. But at the end of the year in college, you're going to lose some guys to the transfer portal we had a couple guys doing really well here, but they thought they would do better someplace else, which they didn't, but they thought they would.
One of the things, and I don't want to get into like NCAA bashing, but I always thought one of the things that has a lot to do with kids transferring or talking about transferring or thinking about it is all the cutbacks that the NCAA has made for the times that a coach can actually go see a kid play live. I mean, you can watch tape, you can get the scouting reports and stuff like that, but it's nothing like being there and seeing a kid and knowing if this is somebody I think can play in my system. Does he fit this, that, whatever,
Yeah, it's hard to see kids as much as we used to because of the pandemic, because of all the different things that have happened. So sometimes you only see a kid once, and you have to make a determination. And usually 1 or 2 times you can kind of tell who can play here. Most of the other recruiting visits are just to babysit, really, to make sure that the kid knows you want him. It's not that hard to decide who's really good. It's hard on a marginal kid. It's kind of in between. Is he good enough to get there? And that's a bit of a guessing game. You never know for sure. I've recruited some kids that people didn't think we should recruit, and they became All-Americans. So it's an inexact science, but you do your work, you do the best you can.
Well, you were known for that, recruiting some guys, like say Lewis and Eric and Marty Head that other people didn't think would be like, the players that they became at Syracuse. So, you had a reputation for taking so-called 3 stars, 4 stars, and turning them into 5 stars. So.
Yeah, you try to do that. Sometimes it works, and obviously sometimes it doesn't. Every once in a while, a 5-star drops back down to a 3 or 4. But usually, we try to get our players better. That's part of coaching in college. Try to work on their weaknesses and try to get everybody better. Get them to improve in what they do. And overall, we've had good success with them. My son came here with the 300th rated player in the country, and he's first team all ACC this year. So we've had guys that have improved a lot, but you never know how kids are going to turn out, how much they're going to work, how much better they're going to get.
Being away from New York and being down here, it's really touching to see how things come full circle, how my son played for the Albany City Rocks and you recruited me and I played for you. Now your son played for the Albany City Rocks, and I remember when he used to come down to Albany, and it's when you think about, you've been there since 1976 as a head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, what school has players that all have a connection to their head coach like that? We all have a coach story about you. We just, I don't know if there's that many programs that has the family feel that we have because of you being there at the time and the consistent way that you've kept the program.
Well, yeah, when a head coach stays for that long, you're going to develop a lot of players that have played here, over 100 that have played here. And we have 3 assistants who played here. So, we have a lot of connections to every class.
Yeah.
So we have great support from all those guys. And that all helps to promote the idea that, somebody's here that will take care of you for the rest of your life. That's necessary.
Exactly. That's not even talking about your coaching tree. That's just talking about your players. It's really amazing. And, as a player playing on your younger stuff, you don't, think about those things. But I look back now and as I do coaching and stuff and helping kids and just think about some of the things that you did, I can't help but, tell you how much respect for you and how much I idolize you and how much I want to thank you for, getting me to where I was and sticking by me.
Well, the most important thing is the players. It's not the wins. I mean, you have to win to coach.
Right.
If you don't win games, you're not going to be coaching. But once you get to that point, it's about the players that you've had, what they've been able to do. I'm most proud of our players that have gone off the court, like you, working with kids. So many guys that didn't maybe play much professional, but they've just really done well in life. They've got good families, they've got good jobs, they're in a good situation. They get back to their community. I mean, to me, that's what's important. It's about the people and the players.
You're right. We have a thread that I think it grew from maybe 6 of us to probably up to like 47 with Sonny and Derek Coleman and Raph. I mean, you name it, we're all on it. Following everything that you do and wishing you success and watching the games and talking about everything. It's just really incredible. And
I know Derek was upset this year. Whenever we lose games, Derek gets really upset.
Yes, he does.
He wants to come back and get mad at everybody. But it's in a good way. But we've got some really good young guys coming in. I think we're going to have a really good team this year. It'll be a fun team to watch.
We always bounce back. That's right. That's right. I got a question that I got to ask you because everybody asked me. Some people say they started watching Syracuse when I came, and some people say they started watching Syracuse when Pearl came. And of course, we know there's way more history than that with Louie and Bowie and Dale and Marty Burns and all those guys. But what I remember is we didn't play as much zone as you played today when I was there. I remember doing a lot of pressing, racehorse style basketball, mixing it up with a lot of zone, but man-to-man, mixing it up more. Is that something that evolved from maybe playing in the Big East or something that you've seen?
We used that man-to-man a lot in pressing for a long time. We got into the 2000s, and we were still doing that, but our zone started to get more prevalent in around 2010, and we couldn't stop anybody man-to-man. And so we kind of went full-time zone for a year or two, and then we recruited guys that fit that pattern and really haven't been able to go back to man-to-man. We're hoping next year with a whole new class, better athletic ability, that we'll play some man because it's better. It's really
I'm
better.
not critiquing it because I've copied your style when I coach. I mean, I've learned why I chase guys around and get my guys in foul trouble, chasing guys that can't throw the ball in the ocean if you just play a zone. So I copied a lot of it, and I get it. But I was just wondering, when I do think back and guys ask me, I remember that we played a lot more man when I was there.
The thing that's happened, Tony, is teams are better now in college in terms of shooting and attacking zones. We used to play teams when you were there, like St. John's, that didn't have guys that could throw the ball in the ocean. So why chase them all over the court? So we played zone and they couldn't score.
Right.
So, but today's game, more shooters, more guys that can attack zones. So I think it's better as we move forward to be able to play both. It's harder to play both. You have to do more things in practice. Prepare 2 scouting reports, one for man-to-man, one for zone. But it's still something that we're moving toward for sure.
Yeah, there aren't as many teams that you can dare to shoot you out of a zone anymore because everybody can do it now, right? I mean, the three-pointer has become such a part of the game. But
Curry changed the game.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, the game's changed. Teams can shoot. There's still some teams that struggle, and there's some teams that they shoot it well, but they don't attack a zone well. So, it's kind of, there's no general statement that you can make just because a team shoots well.
Right.
We've played teams like that, but they didn't attack the zone well. And so you can't generalize.
If you want to settle for 30% chance shots all night, we'll take that, right? So, tell me about that backcourt you played in at Syracuse with Dave Bing. I mean,
nobody remembers that.
Backcourt.
You know how
we had Dave on last week. Did you know that, Coach?
What?
We had Dave on last week.
Well, did you? He
Yeah,
was a modern player. He could play today, and you'd think he was a normal modern player. 6'2", jumped out of the gym. He got 26 rebounds in a game.
Wow.
At 6'2".
He's my height. Yeah, he's like my height.
Great player. Could shoot, could pass. He averaged 29 a game our senior year. We averaged 99. we had up and down the court team, but great player.
Wow.
Well, how about your friend Coach Krzyzewski, who obviously is hanging it up after this year, but in the Final Four now? What do you make of this run he's made?
Team. They were struggling a little bit at the end of the year, but I think now they're the best team. North Carolina's playing really well. Kansas is playing well, but I think right now you have to like Duke's chances to win the whole thing. They've got a great team.
Yeah. Coach, I appreciate you coming on. I can tell you see you're a little under the weather. I'm going to try to get you out of here with maybe two last questions. One is for the kids. Like, a lot of kids, they hear different things. You know how you always got a posse in your ear and stuff like that. But say a kid coming up today that wants to get to a school like Syracuse and stuff like that, what's the best way to get there? Some people think they go to fundamental camps or prep schools or this or that or send tapes to you. What would you say would be the best?
You have to play. You have to get on the AAU circuit. That's where you get seen. Even though there's some bad about AAU, it's mostly good. You get a chance to show what you can do against national players. That's the best way to get noticed. And individually, you've got to work. You got to work at your game all the time. Ben made it here at Syracuse. He worked out every day from 9th grade on to have a chance to come to Syracuse. He had no chance in 9th grade. He wasn't even one of the 20 best 9th graders in Syracuse, let alone anywhere else. But he worked with a strength coach 3 times a week from 9th grade on. Our strength.
Right.
Worked with Eric Devendorf, who's a great player, a couple days a week. For 4 years, 5 years, and put the time in. That's what you have to do. It's not about just going playing games. It's about strength conditioning. It's about shooting for the most part. The better you can shoot, the more chance you have to play someplace.
Right.
And then get on the AAU circuit and try to show people what you have. That's the best way to get.
Thank you. I really appreciate that because so many people tell kids so many different things, and kids want it so bad that they'll listen to whatever.
There's a level for everybody. You get out there, and then you may not make it to Syracuse, but you might make it to a level just below or just below that. And there's nothing for that.
The most important thing is that degree you get on the wall. You
got to get your degree. That's the number one thing that we talk about. Our team this year, we struggled on the court. We had about a 2.8 off the court in school, which is great. But, you got to do the work.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I tell kids all the time, I cover high school sports for a living, and I tell kids all the time that it's really about priorities. I mean, there's a place where you can play, but you need to make a list of what are your top priorities? Is it the education, the major, the size of the school, how much you're going to play, blah, blah, blah. And then you put the puzzle together and figure out where you can find that. But whether it's NAIA or junior college all the way up to Power 5, there's a place out there for you.
There's a place. And the thing that kids don't understand is you have 2 hours of schoolwork maybe at night. You have 2 hours of practice. And you got 8 hours of sleep. You still have 12 hours left. That's how you spend those 12 hours. You want to be with your girlfriend, your buddies, hanging out. Then you're not going to get there. You want to spend some of that time, that 12 hours, doing something to make you better, then you have a good chance. And, Buddy, he's a great kid. He wouldn't date anybody in college because he said, I'm going to be a basketball player.
He'll be a bad boyfriend.
When he finished this year,
his basketball with the girl.
He's been dating a girl for 2 months. We've been done for 2 months. He's been dating a girl for the first time. Not many players have that discipline. I know that. And but he wanted to be a basketball player. He put everything in.
Coach, it was just amazing. I mean, I can't believe it. I would go to the alumni games or some of the games and stop in and see you. And I just remember Buddy as being, like a baby, Now this guy is like, a superstar. Is like incredible. I'm saying I know Coach had no time thought when he was recruiting me that he was going to have a son that was way better than me or more highly. It was just crazy.
I didn't work out. I sure didn't. You were pretty good.
Yeah,
darn good player.
But he's amazing, man, and I want to congratulate you. I appreciate you doing this, Coach. I know you for a long time. I can see you're under the weather, and I'm not going to hold you. I appreciate you. I love everything you did for me. And JJ, unless you have any last minute
Great to see
question.
you. It's great to see you be on this. And, Tony Red Bruin was his legend in New York City, jumping over the rim in high school on the Roker Park games. I don't think anybody did things that Red did. He was pretty exciting.
Thank you, Coach.
He went over Patrick one day in the Carrier Dome for a dunk. That was pretty special. Not many
Patrick,
people did that.
whenever I see him, he gives me a hard time about that every single time too. He's never gonna let me forget it. Yeah.
Not many guys have the guts to even try it. Not many guys have the guts to even try that one. But
no.
Well, congratulations, Coach, on all your success. Thanks so much for your time, and over 1,000 wins and bringing it full circle here at the end. Coaching your sons at the place that you played yourself has to just be the most rewarding cherry on the top. And if you want to sneak any news out there about next steps on a small podcast on an independent news network,
this would be the place to be.
We could slip it under the radar here. But no, we appreciate you, and enjoy this off season, and re-energize yourself for another run at it next year.
We'll be back. We'll be back. Thank you, Coach.
I'll see you next year.
All right. Love you.
All right. That's Coach Jim Boeheim. Thanks so much. We'll be right back with more here on Red's Barbershop.
All right,
Red. Well, it was a little touch and go there. Coach had a surgery this week and took some medication, knocked him out the other night when we were supposed to talk, and he wasn't up to it, but made time for us to get back on today. And what a great time to talk with him. Like you said, you know him well and could tell he wasn't quite himself. Right. After the surgery and stuff, but still got a lot of great wisdom out of him and some great stories about the Red Bruin days at Syracuse, as well as a lot of other stuff along the way. And it had to feel nice for you just to see his face there and be able to talk to him.
I'm glad to see, after the year and everything that the team went up, with the ups and downs, that he's still, positive about next season, happy with the recruits that we got coming in, and he's still Coach Boeheim, ready to go, ready. Recharged and ready to go. Is going down to the Final Four. Going to mingle with the other coaches and watch some good basketball. And then I bet he's going to come back and be right back on the trail. So that makes me good. Happy to see him like that and doing what he does best and what he loves.
Yeah, it's hard to even fathom. Doing the same thing at the same place for as long as he has for 46 years. But you really have to love the place and the people and everything about it. And, like I said, he's become synonymous with Syracuse. When you think of not just Syracuse basketball, but when you think of Syracuse, the city, you think of Jim Boeheim.
You think of Coach Boeheim, and then, that's just how it is, and what's even crazier is another hometown hero, Felicia Leggett, who started in high school there and then went on to coach at, I believe, Indiana and Buffalo, just got the job back at the Syracuse women's team. So it's really going to be just an orange family type of thing at Syracuse University for basketball.
And as we know, that family extends well out. There's plenty of Syracuse Mafia down here in Hilton Head, too.
Oh, yeah, I found that out, too. I went to do a little speech at Lutheran Church the other day on Buckwalter, and I thought I was back on the East Coast because I guess there was a lot of people from Sun City there that was retired from, the East Coast, like New Jersey, Connecticut, New York. And when I heard the accents, I felt right at home again. And then if that didn't make me feel at home, about maybe 12, 13 people came in with Syracuse orange gear on. I'm like, wow, it don't get any better than this.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, man, it was great to, watch you and Coach Boeheim can reconnect and to hear some of his stories. And, I know you're working on some more guests for us. I know you got Derek Coleman has been trying to find a time we can sit down in the chair. And who else are you talking to? Who are we going to get in here the next few weeks? I've
learned my lesson not to say until they're in the show, but it's going to be who's who of basketball. Put it that way. I've been blessed. Like whenever I pick up the phone and ask, can I just get a little bit of your time? People have been happy to do it for us, and that makes me feel good. Makes me feel that I've treated people the right way and ways that they were comfortable with, and feel good about doing a show for us. And we I don't know though, JJ, we raised the bar pretty high with Coach, so we're really going to have to keep going now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ernie D's the only guy who's not in the Hall of Fame we had so far, and he would have been if it wasn't for his knees. So we're shooting pretty high here. We got a good run going, so pressure's on, Red. You got to keep those good guests coming, keep our readers, our listeners excited for this show. But if you enjoyed it, you can check us out on patreon.com/Reds Barbershop. You can go in there and give a monthly pledge and get some cool Reds Barbershop merch and support the show so Red can get some new smoke alarm batteries over there so we don't have to hear that
I'm
chirp
hearing them. I'm gonna wake up one night jumping out the window, man.
just throw us a few bucks a month so Red can get some smoke alarm batteries and we'll be all set. But hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or any other of your favorite podcast app, or you can find it at locosports.com. I enjoyed it, Red. I know you did too, and I can't wait for the next one, man. Looking forward to seeing who we can get in here in Red's Barbershop.
I'm excited. We're getting some great guests. We might even have to start cutting hair at this rate, JJ.
And we're just having a good time. It's good times hanging out with you, talking about hoops and getting a little history lesson in the process. So hope y'all enjoyed it as much as we did. It's time to turn out the lights at Red's Barbershop. Until next time, go Loco.
Go Loco.